Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Today we're here with Mithil, who's the CEO and one of the co-founders of Velar, a great Bitcoin DeFi project. Obviously, we've been covering all these emerging Bitcoin DeFi plays and layer twos and whatnot. So thanks so much for joining us today, Mithil.
Thanks a lot, Alex, for having me. It's exciting.
So you guys have been pretty busy for a year and a half now, as you said. I'll just bring up on screen quickly for those that haven't checked it out the bridge, the launch pad there where you can swap already, connect your Leather wallet I'm using, guys, or any one of those compatible Bitcoin wallets. So head over to velar.co if you haven't checked that out already. But what's your background, Mithil? How did you get into crypto or tech in general and all the good stuff?
Well, it's been a quite a long journey. So I did BTech in computer science from India. So I've been in tech since I was 18 years old. So I graduated from my Bachelor of Technology course in computer science, and since then I've been in crypto. So honestly, I'm born and raised in crypto. I've done nothing else in my professional life apart from crypto. So started my first crypto startup in when I was in the final year of my university in 2017. It was a smart contracts auditing platform for EVM chains. We used to do it was the ICO period when there were lots of thousands of ICOs, initial coin offerings coming on Ethereum. The first big DeFi cycle for Ethereum. We used to audit the smart contracts, and we did over 1,000 smart contract audits. Became one of the largest in the world. Use that money and some of my clients, and I started a hedge fund after that called Terra Search Capital, where we used to actively trade derivatives on centralized exchanges, mostly perpetual contracts across all centralized exchanges. The things were going really well. We became one of the largest actively managed derivatives trading desk in Asia with over $220 million in AUM in 2021. Things went sideways when FTX went down, when BlockFi went down, when a lot of centralized custodians started going down, and the one that didn't go down also had huge huge doubt from people against them, including like Binance or USDT depegging, which would take Bitfinex down. So people started losing trust on centralized custodians, and people were putting millions of dollars or billions of dollars in centralized custodians and trading uh, different trading different avenues through options or derivatives or even trading spot. But people were putting their Bitcoin to use, but they were scared of putting their Bitcoin on centralized custodians because they were not properly regulated. They were getting they were shutting down left, right, center. So in end of 2020, end of 2022 is when I realized that there is huge demand for people in people who are holding Bitcoins to generate yield on their Bitcoin, and they want their Bitcoin to put to use, but they are not trusting centralized custodians anymore. But that was the whole point of crypto in general, right? When crypto began, the whole point was that we should focus on self custody. We should not be trusting just one third party. It should be more decentralized and distributed. So this brought me, like this came full circle to me, and I thought that like even if there is a derivatives platform where people can put their Bitcoin to use, it has to be first of all distributed, decentralized. So it has to be non-custodial, and it has to be on Bitcoin. That's why we started. That's why I started Velar basically earlier in January, February of 2023, and our vision was to build like a suite of DeFi products on Bitcoin where people can put their Bitcoin to use, but in a two very important way, which is one is non-custodial, and the second is their Bitcoin should be secured by the Bitcoin blockchain itself. They shouldn't have to trust a third party for it.
Yeah, fantastic answer and interesting background. So where are you guys at now in terms of you've done a small IDO on Bybit a little while ago? I know are you still on version one of the platform, or I know you're talking about version two. So what stage are you guys at now on the roadmap and that type of thing?
Um, what stage? I mean, we are always in the stage of making history because of the only reason that we started earlier than everyone else, and whatever we do becomes first on Bitcoin. So what I'll tell you, like we are in the middle of a flux right now, which is great for us because we started building Velar in, like I said, in end of January, early February last year, and what we were building for over a year is coming together now. and it started coming together like approximately a month ago when we did our IEO on Bybit. You said it's a small IEO. It wasn't a small IEO. It was the biggest ever IEO ever happened in history of Bybit. Bybit has done over 1,000 project launches, and Velar IEO saw most participation across all projects ever listed on Bybit. 127,000 people applied for Bybit IEO for Velar. So it was a pretty successful IEO, like one of the three best performing IEO across crypto in April. So what happened was that we are, like I said, we are building a suite of products, and we started building it over a year ago. But a lot of those suite of products, they are kind of attached to each other. So it was very important for us that they go live in a very short period of time, and they go live together in the same period of time. So what we did was in March we started launching our suite of products. So in the first product we launched in end of March, just a week or two before the token launch, was the AMM. The Velar AMM is a more community oriented, meme token focused AMM, where it's kind of a gift to the community of Bitcoin, where people can come and like launch their meme coins on top of stacks. They can put liquidity across different tokens on stacks, including Velar, including Bitcoin stacks, including other meme tokens, everything. Then we launched a memestacker.com as well a few weeks ago, where people don't need to learn Clarity or coding to launch their meme token on stacks. So it's a secondary product to our AMM. We also launched a bridge because eventually, so we are as Velar, we are married to the concept of Bitcoin finality. We are not married to any particular L2. We started out with stacks. We love stacks because it's been a pioneer, same like us, on same like how we are on the application side. It's been a pioneer on the infrastructure side. The upcoming SBTC and Nakamoto upgrade is very, very promising. So we started out on stacks with the AMM, but we will be multi L2. So as a multi-chain project, we will have our token across multiple chains. So we also built a bridge where people can transfer their Velar tokens across different chains. Also, our Velar token on Bybit or other exchanges is an ERC20 token, because we will also launch our products on other EVM Bitcoin L2s in future as they come across. Now we are focused on launching our perp DEX. It will be first of its kind, AMM based perp DEX, where people can trade different tokens using leverage. We will launch it on stacks, and we will launch it on across other Bitcoin L2s as well. So this will make Velar a suite of products where people who are holding Bitcoin, basically they can come to Velar. It will become a gateway to Bitcoin DeFi for them, and they can use their Bitcoin across different products to earn yield on top of it.
Fantastic. Just going back to the IDO, so what was the final figure you guys raised, and what was the fully diluted valuation?
So we raised a pre-seed round, and it was a VC plus angel round, and after that we did our IDO on Velar Launchpad and IEO on Bybit, and a small airdrop on Gate Exchange as well. The valuation for that was $30 million fully diluted valuation at the IDO, but it did over 20x for our for our investors in IDO and IEO.
Fantastic, but still relatively small. I think that's what I was when I was looking at the figures and whatnot. When I said it was a small, I didn't mean in terms of the popularity or the hype. I think in terms of the valuations, when we look at other layer twos or some of the ETH layer twos now, it's still even some valuations that projects are raising at the moment, it's still relatively small. I think it was more.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I completely agree to that, because a lot of projects raising now are raising at 200, 300, up to $1 billion in valuation. But we have always said at Velar that we are community first. We are always community first, and the reason we did probably one of the lowest valuations, I actually was in February in Denver, and I had a term sheet on my table worth over $20 million at $200 million in valuation. I didn't go with it, and within a month, I launched. We did the IDO at 1/6 of the price. Why we did that was very clear, that we want community to be involved. We are always a. I mean, when we started Velar, because we are also users, right? I mean, I've been I'm a crypto user first, and then I am a builder. So the products we are building, we are using it ourselves for our day to day, in our day to day life. So we understand how important it is as a user to be involved, and to have skin in the game in the project. that's why we wanted to not do an extra VC round or not do an extra private round, but give that opportunity to our community to get in at the same valuation that the VCs are getting, and be a part of the project and build this together. I mean, this has never happened before in crypto or in Bitcoin, that we did an IDO and IEO for such a for a project of such a scale, to do a IEO at such a low valuation. But the only reason behind that for us was to get community involved as early as possible, so even they have enough skin in the game. Our users, people who are trading on Velar, they should have enough skin in the game. They should be part of. They should feel like they're part of the whole journey with us. So that was the reason behind it.
And for people at home that might want to get involved, is it too late to earn points, or for future airdrops that want to try out the different features and that type of thing?
No. So Velar has four versions, right? Velar has four versions planned. The first version was Velar Dharma, which was the AMM, the bridge, the meme stacker. So for that, we did a incentivized testnet last year. We gave airdrop to 21,000 wallets on stacks, which was worth over $3.5 million when we did the airdrop. So actually, the total amount of VC money we raised in February, we gave more than that, just in airdrop within 2 months. So in a way, like, this makes us most community oriented project ever, because the most amount of money, private money, that Velar has ever raised through angels, through VCs, through investors, we have given out more of that, more than that money to our community just in airdrop. And then we did an IDO and IEO, which did over 10 to 20x for our users. So I mean, it's always been our mindset to be more community oriented. So now in our second version, which is Velar Artha, which is our perp dex across multiple Bitcoin L2s and including stacks, we will do another incentivized testnet for our users, and there will be another airdrop. The airdrop will be much bigger than the airdrop that we did in Velar Dharma, because of course, like, perp dex is also a much bigger product. We expect much more users to come, because when we did our airdrop, when we did our incentivized testnet last June, when we broke the world record on Bitcoin for any testnet dApp, we received 165,000 wallets on our incentivized testnet. But imagine, it was bear market. It was, like, we had less resources, less smaller community. Imagine what will happen now when it's a bigger product across multiple L2s, and we are literally in the middle of the biggest bull market of Bitcoin.
Yeah. Do you want to have any other input on the stacks, the Nakamoto upgrade? I know it's been delayed a little bit. Does that affect you guys a little bit or a lot? And any thoughts on that? Because I know it's pretty exciting once it does finally come together and launch.
Yeah, honestly, we are ready to go live with the stacks perp dex. We were aiming to go live before Bitcoin halving, and everything was planned accordingly. But I completely respect and support the decision by stacks to delay Nakamoto upgrade based on the information that I have got. Because security is first, like, the community first, security first. So I completely agree with that decision. Of course, it affects us minutely, but because we are, because it affects us minutely, because Velar perp dex on stacks will be delayed until the Nakamoto comes out, but it doesn't delay our other plans. Like, we are L2 agnostic in nature. We have always told we are married to the concept of Bitcoin finality, and like, we want to provide our users products across multiple L2s and across different technologies that people can use to basically make their Bitcoin more productive. So we have some very interesting news coming out in next coming weeks, which will again change the course of entire Bitcoin ecosystem, and it will be very interesting to see that.
Yeah, we've tried to stay neutral in our research and our interviews and whatnot as well, just as we did with Ethereum when Optimism and then Arbitrum and Polygon. It's not a winner-take-all space. There's a dozen layer 2s now in the Ethereum world. I'm sure there can be a dozen or even more in the Bitcoin world as well. Are there any other, I guess, features or just general thoughts on the future of Velar or Bitcoin that you want to touch on for us, Mithil?
So many things, right? I mean, we are still very, very early in Bitcoin DeFi space. Even though we have, I'm talking to over 60 Bitcoin L2s now. There are hundreds of dApps coming onto Bitcoin. but I would say still we are very, very early, because what will happen on Bitcoin will not be same as Ethereum. A lot of people from Ethereum and other ecosystems that builders are coming onto Bitcoin,
Yes.
but Bitcoin is a completely different breed. When you talk to Bitcoin holders, it's completely different mindset. When you talk to users or traders on Bitcoin, it's completely different mindset from how other ecosystems behave. So it's very important for builders to understand the small the small requirements or the mindset of Bitcoin space, and like Bitcoin holders, which will it's like a thought experiment, because how Bitcoin ecosystem will of course become much bigger than Ethereum ecosystem. It's just sheer numbers, right? I mean, Bitcoin is worth $1.5 trillion now. Even if 10% of Bitcoins comes to DeFi, that's $150 billion. That's 50% more than entire Ethereum TVL. And we are not and personally, I'm talking to a lot of large Bitcoin holders now, a lot of Bitcoin whales, a lot of institutions who are holding Bitcoin, and their mindset has completely changed over last 1 year. Like 1 year ago, people who are holding Bitcoin were not keen to put their Bitcoin to use, but now everybody is keen to put their Bitcoin to use, including large institutional holders. So I think within next 2 years, we will see at least more than 10% of entire Bitcoin supply coming to DeFi, which is a huge, huge opportunity. Right now, the entire Bitcoin DeFi TVL is what, like $2-3 billion, but it will grow 100x from here within 2 years. So such a huge opportunity for all the builders out there, all the developers out there, all the entrepreneurs out there to build on Bitcoin.
Yeah, we just know these things take time, and I've said in past episodes. I remember when we did our first ever tutorial on MakerDAO, and then try and explain to people what Uniswap is, and people sort of see these things, and maybe it's only the devs or the real hardcore enthusiasts that use them to begin with. And as you said, a year or so ago, there's only a handful of people that have ever borrowed against their Bitcoin to mint stable coins and take out loans or swap from one asset to another. And we're sort of mid-cycle now where people are hearing about it and the technology's getting there, but it's probably still 12 months away from really those volumes and TVL and everything really skyrocketing. Would you agree with all that?
I completely agree. So you just at Velar, like how I said, just in our incentivized testnet for Artha, we are expecting, based on like pure data, we are expecting at least 1 million users, at least 1 million participants in our Artha incentivized testnet. It will be across multiple L2s, but imagine the growth that will bring. I mean, Velar has been at forefront of Bitcoin DeFi. We have brought most number of users ever to Bitcoin. We have built applications that were not ever on Bitcoin. We became first ever Bitcoin DeFi project to go live on a tier one exchange in history. We are doing one more tier one exchange listing in 2 weeks. It will be very interesting for the community to see that as well. It's also groundbreaking, and it's like we are making history there as well. But the amount of users that just Velar will bring, the amount of TVL, because of the partnerships that we have, that Velar will bring, will 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 start kind of a cascading effect across Bitcoin DeFi that will bring billions of dollars and users and investors and institutions in Bitcoin DeFi. So what we are doing also is not just for us, but we are kickstarting this whole Bitcoin economy on native Bitcoin, in native Bitcoin environment, which will have the cascading effect, which will make it the biggest ecosystem by TVL users, daily active traders, monthly active users across all parameters, compared to any other ecosystem in crypto within 2 years.
Fantastic. Well, Mithil, you've got through so much today, and our audience is hopefully pretty familiar with the concepts in general that we've been talking about for a year or two now in terms of Bitcoin, DeFi, and scaling. I'll put all the links below to check out the website, guys, and have a play around with Velar and hopefully get eligible for the next airdrop, as Mithil said. But any final thoughts for people today at home?
So many final thoughts, to be honest. Like, there's so many things going on. Like, if you see, the Bitcoin ecosystem is the fastest growing ecosystem in crypto right now, and it will remain like that for next few years. And very excited with everything that's happening with the recent Bitcoin price action, how it has been holding really well. all the L2s coming up, great developers coming to Bitcoin space now, and institutions looking into Bitcoin. It's going to be very interesting next few years for crypto because of Bitcoin.
I guess it just in terms of a bit of speculation and price targets, I'm very much of the opinion now that Bitcoin is the genie's so far out of the bottle that fiat currencies are inflating at an ever increasing pace, and nobody now wants to be last. So I think everyone from companies to countries, governments to corporations and whatnot, everyone is going to want to have to hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And China can't let Russia have two more than America, and so on. So I just think this race, we're just about to hit this tipping point where everyone is going to finally see it as the ultimate savings vehicle, and everything tips out of fiat currency and all assets that have traditionally stored value. So, what are your thoughts? And maybe give us your super bullish best case scenario.
Um, so there are a few things, right? So one thing that's given, we have to take a base case. The base case that's given is that Bitcoin is here to stay. Like, we are so early, I feel uncomfortable to say it after 15 years, but after the ETF announcement, what we have seen in last 1 year, now one thing is for sure, that Bitcoin is here to stay, and Bitcoin has guaranteed itself as a parallel asset class, which everybody will put money in, now or later. Individuals, investor, pension funds, institutions, countries, central banks, everybody will put money. So just because of the sheer amount of money that's out there, which is over $200 trillion in total assets that are out there, even if Bitcoin takes, again, like, because it's a parallel asset class, like there is stock market, there is money market, there is gold, and there are commodities, there will be crypto, but Bitcoin is leading the charge, and there is no second best in crypto. It's just Bitcoin. So even if 1% of that comes to, even at like 2 to 5% of that, like value comes to Bitcoin, that's $10 to $20 trillion. That's 10x from here. So I think we should not see Bitcoin in dollar price anymore, is what I think. But I completely understand, for investors, it's really important, and we all still see our base currency as US dollar, and it's great for people to make profit. But there will be people who will be buying Bitcoin and not selling for years, like the ETFs, institutions, or central banks that will be buying Bitcoin. They will not be buying it to sell or to trade. And what that does is that all that keeps taking Bitcoin out of the supply. So right now what happens is there is around 16 to 17% supply in the exchange, which decides the Bitcoin price. So literally more than 50-60% of Bitcoin has not been touched in last 7-8 years, and rest of the Bitcoins are going to with the long term holders, which are not going to sell for next few years. So the price discovery that happens in Bitcoin today happens based on 16-17% supply. And from that supply, if you see, there are two things that will be happening in next few years. One is Bitcoin ETFs buying more and more Bitcoin will take supply from the exchanges. Where else would they take supply from? Because other people are not selling. The second thing is Bitcoin being logged in Bitcoin L2s. So like how we discussed, not even 10%, even if 2 to 5% supply comes to Bitcoin DeFi, which is, I think, very, very possible, and very, very, it's not even a good case. It's like a bad case. Then also this supply goes from exchanges. This supply goes from the liquid Bitcoin that are available. So what I see will happen is, within 2 years, the supply of Bitcoin on exchanges and in liquid Bitcoin will go below 10%, will go between 5 to 10%, which will shrink the supply so much, compared to the demand that's coming from ETFs, demand that's coming from central banks buying, demands that's coming from Bitcoin L2s. So this will push the price up so high that people are not imagining it right now.
Yeah.
Like, Bitcoin 6 figures is kind of a okay case. It's not even a good case. Like, we can see Bitcoin 7 figures very, very soon. Like, people are expecting it to come in 10 years, but because of snowball effect of ETF, snowball effect of Bitcoin L2s, like, people buying Bitcoin for long term, this can happen within next few years, like, which people are not realizing right now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one other thing that we mentioned before is when people can borrow against their Bitcoin holdings is just another reason, as you said, that Bitcoin that might have been sold in the past, there's no need to sell your Bitcoin if you can borrow against it, and it doesn't make its way to an exchange. It gets locked up. So yeah, great way to finish. I wish you guys all the best with everything you're doing. We'll have to have you back on in future, Mithal, but it's been so great chatting today. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Alex. It's been amazing.
Cheers, guys.